Guys, sorry, my hair looks crazy for this video, but we're just gonna go with it. All right. 10 habits that made me confident, strong, and independent that I truly wish I knew sooner. So why should you listen to me, especially if you're new to my channel? Well, you really should just do whatever you want. But the reason I'm making this video and why I think it's going to have valuable information is for one really solid reason. And it's this. Only a few years ago, I was highly insecure. I had almost no confidence and I was not independent whatsoever. I was lonely. I felt that I had to depend on other people to feel happy, to feel fulfilled. I doubted everything I said and did. I second guessed myself. I had a lot of social anxiety and I just felt like life was really, really hard. And truly it was, because my mindset was just it was at such a state where I looked at my life and felt that everything was hard. I was very self-critical, and it was a really deep, dark hole that I put myself in. And over the last few years, the journey has been longer than the last few years, but the most change has happened in the last few years because I have applied these habits that I'm going to share with you over and over and over again to such an extent that it's drastically changed the way I show up, the way other people perceive me, and the way I perceive myself. And now, not only do I feel strong in who I am and how I show up, not only do I have confidence and security within myself and do I feel independent, but I just feel light. Like life feels like one big adventure. I love my life. I love what I do. I love who I am. I honor my imperfections. There's not so much pressure on myself anymore. And I just don't take life as seriously. But I'm jumping ahead here because that's related to one of the habits. And so I want to share with you, my beautiful viewer, what I've done, because I truly think with my whole heart that if you apply one, hopefully more than one, but at least one of these habits towards your life, you're going to see a change, because I am a testament to that. These habits have truly changed my life because they have changed me intrinsically. So let's get started on this video. Okay. Habit number 1, not thinking so much and taking action. Actually, that's like a two-parter, but this is a very important one. So essentially, it's really easy for us to overthink. It's really easy for us to be faced with a problem or a situation and just think about all the things that could go wrong, or think about all the things that we've done wrong if we were faced with a problem or situation. And the reason that we do this is quite simple. We are biologically wired for survival. So we are constantly assessing our lives and our situations and looking at how we need to survive, whether we're doing it consciously or not. So when we're looking at how to survive, we often look at the worst case scenario so that we can prepare. Now, the great thing about this, I mean, it's a survival mechanism, but the great thing about being human, rather, is the fact that we are an intelligent species and we can rise above our biological wiring, meaning that you can form new habits and new ways of thinking if you think more consciously and you do this repeatedly. So the reason I say not thinking so much and taking action is because of this. The more we tend to think, we are more inclined to overthink. And when we start to overthink, we are not thinking about the clearest and the simplest way to solve a problem. And we are stuck and often trapped in that situation or problem, and we are making it worse in our minds. But all of our problems start in our mind. So it is really helpful for many reasons to learn how to break that cycle of overthinking. This is where the action comes in. Either take a step towards solving a problem that you're facing, or just do something that will distract your mind to get you out of that cycle of overthinking, whether that be journaling to lay your thoughts on paper, going for a walk, listening to your favorite music and walking like you're in a music video, listening to a podcast, hanging out with your friends, just noticing and observing when you're getting trapped into a cycle of overthinking and breaking that, learning how to break the habit of overthinking and develop a new habit of focusing on what the solution is and taking action, or just stepping away from the problem altogether. Overthinking does not lead to anything beneficial to you. Particularly if you are someone like how I am or used to be when I used to be socially anxious, and I would think about and ruminate on all the things I said and did and how it could have been better. Fuck that. I did the best I could in that moment with the knowledge I have, and same goes for you. Don't overthink. Okay. Number 2, saying no without justifying myself. So powerful. So powerful. We cannot control how other people feel. No matter how hard you try, no matter what you say or do, you will never be able to control how someone feels. This is important because oftentimes when we say no, or at least I'll speak for myself, when I used to say no, I would feel bad because no can sometimes be taken as rejection from other people. And I would justify my no, or I would avoid saying no altogether and say yes, because I was pleasing other people, because I was putting other people before myself. And if I did say no and I felt guilt around the no, I would explain it. Oh, I can't, or no, I don't want to do that because of da 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 da, or I'm busy, and make some sort of elaborate excuse or just over explain my situation. But no is a full sentence. It breaks the habit of constantly having to justify yourself, constantly having to justify who you are, constantly, essentially, saying that you're not enough, that what you're saying is not enough. It's breaking that habit. And understanding that because you cannot control how people feel, as long as you are respectful and you are kind and you say no, that is perfectly fine. That is enough. And it keeps you in your power. It is reinforcing the notion that you do not have to justify yourself to anyone or anything. You are free to express how you feel. And if you just want to say, no, I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, that's enough. Okay. Number 3, saying nothing and just listening. Oh, this is like so simple, but so juicy, so juicy. We all have an ego, and it feels good sometimes to share our beliefs, to share our opinions, to justify ourselves, to be the last person to say something in a conversation. And when we do that, we lose the opportunity to listen, to take in information, to gain wisdom, to reflect and see how we truly want to show up in a conversation, how we truly want to show up for someone else. We often tend to have the habit of just someone speaking to us and immediately replying or reacting or letting our emotions get the best of us and putting out a response. But you stay in your power when you just listen, particularly when you feel triggered by someone or you're having a strong emotional response, like maybe someone has a different political opinion than you and they're like, ooh, I love this person in politics and I love this policy, and you're totally against it and you just want to rebuttal and say something angry about it. But something fascinating happens when you just listen and you're not the first to speak, or you just don't react. You start to not only think about what they said, but you think about the situation. You give yourself the opportunity to reflect. You give yourself the opportunity to consciously think about how you want to respond, if you even want to respond, and how you want to show up. And if you choose not to respond, now you've put yourself in a situation where you're not creating any drama. You're not stirring anything up. Not that there's anything wrong with confrontation. I'm actually not against or for confrontation. I just think sometimes it's necessary. But regardless, it allows you to process information and then decide how you want to show up. And I think it's really important to stay open and to listen to other people, because it's not about being right. It's just knowing that we all have different opinions and those opinions can change. Einstein is quoted as saying something along the lines of, and I think Socrates as well, the more that I know, the more I realize I know nothing. Just listen, be open. And also, we often tend to be more successful at solving problems when we listen and don't speak so much. Okay. Number 4, trusting that I will solve the problem. Action brings clarity. So similar to number 1, where I said not thinking so much and taking action, number 4 is distinctly different though, because I'm saying that you trust that you will solve the problem. Like, I literally trust myself. I know that as long as I take action toward a specific problem and I don't give up, I will be successful. That feeling of trust, that feeling of knowing that everything is working out. It's not gonna work out. It is working out as long as I take action, brings me so much peace. Now, the key here as well is taking action, and this is deliberately towards the problem to find a solution. Because when we are faced with a problem, like let's say, let me think of a problem that's happened to me recently. I went through a breakup and I had some logistics to figure out. I was thinking in my head a lot about like all the things that I had to do to accommodate this breakup. And I just started thinking about like, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And I started stressing myself out. And I literally said to myself, Sarah, pause. You will figure it out when it gets to the time, trust yourself and just relax. And just like that, I did it. It's not that easy, but this is a habit that we're trying to form. A habit takes consistent practice over time. And so when I got to where I needed to get to do the logistics of the breakup, to get my stuff, to figure things out, I took action, faced the problem, and moved forward. I didn't ruminate on it. And I trusted that I would figure it out. See, a few years ago, I used to think that when I was faced with big problems or complex problems, they don't have to necessarily be big, that I wouldn't know what to do. I didn't have the experience or wisdom. But let me tell you, you do. You do have the experience and you do have the wisdom. You have enough in your back pocket to solve any problem. If you trust yourself and you remain calm and you don't overthink, eventually you will take one step in a direction that will help you solve the problem. Action brings clarity. Even if the step you take makes the problem worse, whatever it is, then you know that you need to pivot. So don't sit there and ruminate. Take action towards a problem. And that will strengthen your confidence, because you're going to start to prove to yourself that you do have what it takes to solve your problems. You can trust that you will figure it out. And once you really lean into that, once you trust that you can solve all your problems and you know how to take action consistently and just not freeze, it makes you so freaking strong because you feel unstoppable. And that is confidence as a byproduct. And that definitely makes you feel independent because you trust yourself. You know that you'll figure it out. Okay. Number 5, letting myself feel all the emotions. Repression of emotions leads to a catalyst of negative things. If you know someone that's passive aggressive, for example, that's often due to, it's like a consequence of someone who has repressed anger for so long and frustration that now their personality has become this like passive aggressive / condescending personality that most people don't really enjoy to be around, unless it's like funny sarcasm, but not a lot of people have mastered that balance in my opinion. But you need to let yourself feel emotions. You don't have to show up with a mask, even though we're taught that we do. We're taught like when we go to school or like a family gathering or work or whatever it is, if you're feeling angry, depressed, whatever, you have to wear a mask. You have to show up. You have to be professional, diplomatic. You have to be happy. No, you don't. You can show up just the way you are. You don't have to wear a mask. Now, this is a balance. There's an art to this. I wouldn't suggest like going to work angry and being like, such and such is a fucking asshole. No, I wouldn't suggest that. But what I would say is, or what I do rather, is coming to, and I'll use work as an example because this has literally happened to me before, where I come to work and I just went through a breakup and I'm really sad. And I just said to my manager, hey, I'm actually really sad right now. I'm just letting you know that I'm very sad. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to show up. But if I'm acting kind of off, that's why. And it just allowed me to be me. It allowed me to not only express to my manager that I don't want to wear a mask, nor will I, but I'll still be respectful and do my job. But it also reinforces to myself that it is safe for me to feel. And the more that you do that, the more you face the hardships that we go through in life, like, the anger, the sadness, the frustrations from life events, and we actually deal with it when it happens, you are going to get better at reflecting and learning and gaining the wisdom from these experiences and becoming a stronger, more independent person than you will if you repress these emotions, whether you just avoid them or maybe you drink or do other hobbies or habits that don't serve you in a positive way. You're just holding on to that and repressing it. And it does show up in different ways in life. Like my social anxiety, for example, how long was I socially anxious for? 30 years, like almost my entire life. Maybe less than 30 years. I don't know. Like it started very early in my childhood. I don't know how early specifically, but for all of these years, for decades, we'll say, I was socially anxious because I never faced the root of the emotion that I was feeling. And I just felt rejected and I wasn't good enough. And when I finally got to the root of it through journaling and different exercises, and I realized that I just felt like I wasn't good enough and I was rejected by people close to me, and I processed that. Through the processing, I realized that like no one truly was rejecting me. I just felt rejected because I set expectations on people that unfortunately they couldn't fulfill. It wasn't their fault. And that realization freed the fuck out of me. It freed the fuck out of me. Sorry for the emphasis, but I'm not really sorry because I just felt that in the moment. Processing is hard. Feeling the emotions is hard, but it's going to benefit you so much. And it's going to show you that you can own who you are. One thing though, that I always emphasize, and I'll do it again, is be respectful and be kind. That is so important. Like when you say no, like I was saying earlier, without justifying yourself, or when you are showing your emotions and processing them, just don't take it out on other people. If you do, reflect on it, learn from it, and move forward. Don't overthink and ruminate and be hard on yourself because that doesn't serve you in any way positively. Okay, number 6, embracing my anxiety, which diminishes it. So I'm an anxiety coach. I coach people that suffer with anxiety, social anxiety, and panic attacks. And anxiety is, all these forms of anxiety are just a form of fear. Now, this has been really critical for helping me with my confidence, particularly because anxiety is fear of the fear itself. We are actually afraid of our thoughts, that the ideas and the beliefs that we're perpetuating in our mind, not objective reality. Reality is a response. How we project, how we create our reality is based on our own thoughts. Okay. So when someone is afraid of going on a plane, they get panic attacks whenever they're on a plane, right? And they take a flight. They're not actually afraid of the plane itself and the flight. They are afraid of the story they've created that something might happen to them on the plane, and they are afraid of getting that feeling of panic on the plane. And we know this, right? Another way to look at it is most people on a plane are calm. They feel relaxed. Of course, there's a chance that something could happen, but the likelihood of it is quite small. Most people understand this logically and they feel safe, hence why they're not getting panic attacks. But when people are afraid, when they feel anxious, it's because they've created this process, this story in their mind. We are afraid of our thoughts, not the actual situation or circumstances. So there are many, many, many different things to do to manage anxiety and honestly to eradicate it. Although a little bit of anxiety is good, we are programmed to have anxiety for a reason. I don't want to get off on it too much on a tangent, but anyways, just wanted to say that. Let me look back. What did I say? Embrace anxiety, which diminishes it. Yes. So when I feel anxious, I just say, I feel anxious right now, and that's okay. And I reason with myself. Reason is not the word. I just embrace it. I'm like, I feel anxious. I feel scared of X, Y, and Z, and that's okay. And I'm still going to move forward. It's a form of self-love. It's telling yourself, reassuring yourself that it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's reassuring yourself that you're strong enough to get through it. And it is confronting the fear. And this is so powerful. It is so powerful when you learn how to confront the fear and not run away from it, right? So going back to the panic attack on an airplane situation, what many people tend to do that get panic attack on planes is they either take some medication to help ease their panic, or they just don't fly. They just avoid the situation altogether. But when we avoid our fear, when we let our fear dictate our lives and we run away from it, we are saying that we are not stronger than our fear. Our fear is stronger than us. When you get good at embracing your fear and learning how to face it, this is not a very easy thing, but I truly believe everybody's capable of doing this. You really become unstoppable. Because it can apply to anything. Like it could be public speaking. It could be speaking up in a meeting. It could be telling your friends how you really feel about your political views or whatever. When you can find the balance of facing the fear, embracing your anxiety, not running away from it and saying, I feel anxious right now, but that's okay. I'm still going to move forward, and acknowledge that you feel afraid, but it's okay to feel afraid because it has no power over you. And you really lean into that and you practice that. It just makes you feel unstoppable. Like I remember just a few years ago, like I would never be the person that would speak up in like a team meeting at work. And now I'm like, especially if I feel that the meeting is going astray, I'm like, hold up. I am not afraid. Even if I feel anxious, I might know that I'm about to say something that could be triggering to some people. But if I feel in my heart that it's the right thing to say, and even if I feel anxious, I will say it, because I'm like, it's okay that I feel anxious. It's okay that this might be triggering, but I'm strong and I'm going to do what I think is right. And I do it and I embrace it. And the more I expose myself to my anxiety and work through it, the stronger I feel and the less scary it feels. And that just makes you feel confident and strong, baby. Okay, number 7, prioritize exercise and movement. So simple, so powerful. This is like, I just want to emphasize this so much for several reasons. Let's break this down and make it as concise as possible, because I love to talk. When you exercise, especially if you don't exercise right now, listen closely. You just feel fucking good, okay? You feel great. You're showing up for yourself and you're doing something that is going to have long-term benefits, like reshaping your body, helping you lose and or maintain a healthy weight. It doesn't have to be a vigorous gym session. It can be consistent walking practice that you do every day, or yoga, or whatever it is that appeals to you. Let's take the intrinsic angle, right? So you're showing up for yourself and you're doing something consistently, but your body intrinsically feels good when it moves. We are designed to move, okay? It also is a phenomenal channel for expressing and moving dense energy like stress and sadness and, all of the anxiety, all of these emotions. You can channel that through movement. And it's another way to relieve these feelings and to feel more grounded. I was actually just speaking to someone the other day. They're not an anxiety coach like I am, but they no longer have anxiety. And they were like, Sarah, exercise is what got rid of my anxiety. I'm 100% convinced that working out is what helped me get rid of my anxiety. And I think that aha moment, that key thing is different for everybody. And sometimes it's more than one thing that truly kind of gets someone to a place where they're able to manage their anxiety or their fear or whatever it is, or depression even. But exercise is powerful. So we know that intrinsically it feels good showing up for yourself and moving. Your body really enjoys movement. Physically, if we look at also like the egoic level, like everyone likes to have a body that they feel proud of, or most of us do. It just feels nice to see that like the effort we put in like created results that we enjoy. And then on the mental level, it gives you an outlet to release like stress and these dense emotions. It just makes you feel so good. And that boosts your confidence. It boosts your confidence in so many ways, like showing up for yourself, movement, exercise, and the self-discipline behind it. When you think about self-love, which I talk a lot about in my videos, because I talk a lot about mental health and mindfulness and mindset and self-improvement. Those are my topics, right? And self-love comes up in almost every video because it's truly like the foundation of what makes you unstoppable. But, and going into this specific habit of exercise and movement, when you exercise and move consistently, it is an action that you show yourself that you love yourself. Because you do it because either you do love yourself and or you want to love yourself. Now, I think we all actually love ourselves and we're just out of touch with it, and we deluded ourselves into thinking that we don't love ourselves, but we do. Again, another topic for another video. But the point is that it is a physical form of self-love, and it will boost your confidence. All right. I told you I like to talk, man. I'm telling you. All right. Number 8, letting cravings pass. This one was really key for me. I have a history of bulimia and binge eating, and that was really hard for me to get over. And I've gained a lot of weight and I've lost a lot of weight, and my weight just fluctuated for so long. And the pivotal thing for me was just understanding that cravings pass and letting my cravings pass. Like literally what the first step to right before my bulimia happened, this is a little bit like vulnerable for me, so bear with me. That's why I'm pausing a bit, but would be that I ate something that I was craving, that I knew wasn't healthy for me, that would be a gateway for me to binge eating. And that was always processed food or junk food. I'm not going to binge eat a freaking broccoli stick, like stock, whatever. It's just not going to happen. And so what I've come to realize is that when I let the craving pass, which is actually easier than I thought it was, then I won't do the thing that will make me feel like shit afterwards. It's not about not eating junk food or processed food, because I think there's a time and place to do that consciously. And I can do that now. I've gotten to that point where I can do it in balance. But that's because I crave bad food every day. Every day I want a cookie, or I'm like, forget the cookie. Actually, I do love cookies, but fries and chips, like fries and chips. I am a potato. A potato is me. I literally love potatoes fried with lots of oil and salt. I love it, love it, love it. Every day I think about a bag of chips, but I don't do it because it's like a form of self-rejection when I do it too frequently, because I know I'm not feeling good after I eat it. And I know that it can be a gateway for me to eat more and binge more. And then I don't feel good about myself. But going back to taking action that is a form of self-love, letting the cravings pass is self-discipline. And self-discipline is an expression of self-love. It is doing the thing that doesn't necessarily feel easy in the moment, but that you know you will thank yourself for doing. But intention is important. There are people who really deprive themselves and let cravings pass, but just don't eat and don't eat the foods they enjoy ever, and they're too restrictive. So there is a balance to life. There is a yin and a yang. These concepts are important. They're not just fluff. Like, there's a balance to life, and there's a way to do things with self-love. Be intentional. Know why you're letting a craving pass. You're letting it pass because now is not the time to eat junk food or processed food because maybe you had it yesterday, or, you know, right now in this moment, you might do it and it might be a gateway to eating more bad food, like it is for me. But the more I started to let these cravings pass, the more I realized how strong I am. Like, I can fucking do it. Like, I can be the person I want to be. I can show up for myself. Self-discipline is like learning how to be self-disciplined is powerful. You just feel so powerful. And you know what's ironic? I listened to this video on it the other day about self-discipline. I love to kind of reinforce my beliefs. And so this video was like, everybody's self-disciplined. Like, we're all self-disciplined in our own way. Like, if you, for example, I use me as an example, actually. But like, if I were someone that scrolls every day for like an hour, which I was at one point, I literally disciplined myself to avoid other things and go on my phone and scroll every day, which is true, right? That is a form of discipline. I was disciplined about it. So you can do it with anything. It can be scrolling on the phone, eating bad food, or it could be eating good food and going and moving and doing exercise. We're all capable of being disciplined about something. It's just putting the intention behind it. I'm telling you, it's going to make you feel powerful. Okay. Number 9, laughing at myself. I alluded to this earlier, but yeah, just like not taking myself so seriously. I mean, this makes me feel so good. Like, this makes my life feel light and fun. And it just like makes me love who I am when I, for example, if I fumbled over my words on a speech, or if I said something that might have pissed someone off, or it could be something really serious. Like, maybe I got into an argument with my mom, right? Which I hate arguing with my mom, but it happens because we're just like very strong personalities sometimes. And I do think it's important to reflect. I just choked on air essentially there. But I do think it's important to reflect and always think about how you can improve from any situation that you went through, whatever. But it's a balance between reflection and laughing at yourself. Like using my mom and arguing with her as an example, we argued the other day about a bird, literally a bird, a pet bird that we have. And I took it out of the cage and I was petting it and it was going, rah, rah, rah. My mom wanted it back in the cage. And the next thing I knew, we were arguing. And I felt afterwards, I reflected, I'm like, Sarah, why did you argue? Like, we just had different perspectives on things. So I did the reflection. I thought about it. I took any kind of wisdom from it that I could. But then I also laughed at myself. I was like, what? Like, what? Like, why was I arguing over like the status of a bird and like whether it should be in the cage or not in the cage? Like, what was I even thinking? You know what I mean? Like, and it just lightens up the experience. And the thing is, like, life is a choice. Life is just full of choices, right? We can either take it seriously or not take it seriously in any given moment. And there's always a time and place to take things seriously. Don't get me wrong. But it's like, dude, most of the things in our life are just a freaking blip. It's a blip. Like, on your deathbed, you're not going to remember that one time that you said something embarrassing and everyone laughed at you. Like, you're not. You're going to be thinking about the more important, like, milestones of your life, the things that you did, maybe the things you wish you would have done. But like that moment, like, we're all going to die. We're not going to escape that. And that like moment of where everyone laughed at you, like, in that moment, you could have either felt super embarrassed or you could have laughed at yourself as well. And like really understanding that, like, laugh at yourself. Like, it makes such a difference when I want to think of a real life example, because I've been doing this so much recently, but obviously when you're on the spot talking, like, sometimes things just like come out of your head. But I can't remember exactly what I said, but I was in a meeting the other day, like a work meeting, and I contradicted myself. I had said something in one meeting like a few days prior. And then in the current meeting, I contradicted myself and said something different. And someone called me out on it. And they're like, which is it, Sarah? Is it X or Y? And I was like, right. And so I felt immediately embarrassed. I have an ego. Like, of course I felt embarrassed. And then I just like looked at them and I was like, yeah, I'm just a walking contradiction. Like, what the fuck do I mean? I don't even know. You know what I mean? And then we laughed. We laughed. And if that were me a few years ago, I would have been like, oh shit, I would have tried to justify myself and over-explain myself and maybe explain why it's both X and Y. But now I'm just like laughing at myself because like I'm human. I make mistakes. You're human. You make mistakes. Like it just lightens everything up. And when you own who you are too, and you're just like, yeah, like, oh my God, when someone tells me, Sarah, you fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, I did fuck up. You're right. It disarms them. And it even disarms myself. I'm like, shit, I'm humbling myself. I'm admitting that, yeah, I fucked up. And then the other person's like, yeah, well, that's like big of you. Or maybe it'll just throw them off and be like, you know, and it'll actually disarm them as well and kind of level the conversation. There's something really powerful in not taking yourself so seriously, owning who you are and just admitting your mistakes and just moving on and not overthinking it. I could talk about this shit forever, but I feel like I'm talking too much already. All right, number 10. This really leans into the independent stuff, spending conscious time alone. So me specifically, I used to feel very lonely. And I just never wanted to be alone. I wanted to be surrounded by other people. I wanted people to entertain me. I wanted to socialize. I wanted everyone to fill the void that nobody could fill. And I would just avoid being on my own. And even if I was on my own, I was distracting myself scrolling. No, this is why I said conscious time alone. Do things for you. I actually have a self-love blueprint that I'll put in the description box where I've created an 8-week program essentially to kind of help you understand why it's important to love yourself and how to take the steps to do that and implement a practice that works for you. And it's based on neuroscience, not just my opinion and what I've seen in my coaching sessions, but truly science-based techniques. I'll put that in the description box. But essentially, like, it's just so important to have a practice where you are on your own and you're just showing up for yourself and you're figuring out who you are. You journal, you go for long walks, you listen to music or you don't listen to music. You just like sit there and do a mindfulness practice. It could be meditation. I know a lot of people don't like meditation or have a resistance to it. But it could also be like my meditation practice is walks. I love going for walks and just listening to my thoughts and saying my thoughts out loud. And sometimes I'll like record my thoughts on my notes, but I also love to journal too. But I've been walking more than I've been journaling recently, going through the different phases of life and just understanding myself and who I am because I'm constantly changing and I really want to honor what makes me happy. And if I don't make that time alone, if I don't spend time by myself, it's very hard to sometimes know why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling or what's making me happy in this moment, what's not, and why. And it's really, really important. But the more conscious time you spend alone, where, you know, like maybe, for example, it's a Friday night and you have plans to go out with your friends, but you just don't want to. You're just like, I'm not feeling it. I don't have anything else on. I could go, but I don't want to. I just want to be at home, maybe run a bubble bath, cook for myself, watch my favorite TV show. And you actually just say, no, I'm not going. And you don't justify yourself. And you just sit there and you stay at home and do the things you want to do. And you spend that conscious time alone. You honor that feeling that you were feeling. It shows yourself that your company is enough. You are enough. Time alone is precious time. As I've said, everything in balance. There's a yin and yang to life. You don't want to spend too much time alone. Well, there's nothing wrong with spending too much time alone, again, if it's consciously, but it's possible to fall into the trap of you spend so much time alone that you don't like being around other people ever. And I do think that we're social creatures and we have a lot to learn from each other. Socializing can be hard. Don't get me wrong. I am a social anxiety coach. I understand a lot of the complications of socializing. And so most of our problems are like interpersonal problems. They come from being in social situations or dealing with other people or just managing relationships. But that's also the beauty of life. We shouldn't really run away from our problems, in my opinion. I think a lot of our problems are problems because we label them as problems, but they're actually just situations. And the more light we approach life and the more open we are to people and accepting them as they are, the more oh, my light just died. The more open and accepting we also are of ourselves, actually the way we perceive other people and the way we perceive life is a reflection of how we perceive ourselves truly. So anyways, time alone is time well spent, especially if you're someone like how I was and you do feel lonely. Understanding that loneliness is not a truth. It's a feeling. It's a feeling of disconnect from yourself, and learning how to connect back into yourself and realizing that the way you are and who you are is enough. And like really feeling that is just such a delicious feeling. It's going to make you feel independent because you know you don't need anyone to feel happy, but you don't mind being around other people. It's going to make you feel strong. And of course, it's going to make you feel confident because you're not feeling insecure being on your own. I really hope you found this video helpful. That was a really super fast transition there. But anyways, if you liked my video, make sure you like, you subscribe, and you can comment if you feel called to it. I really appreciate you watching me talk because I could always talk forever, I think. Anyways, okay, I'm rambling. Mwah, bye.